All right, friends, welcome to Tiger Talk Tuesday. Just like all things tech, it takes a second to get going here. Today is episode 20. I can't believe it. So grateful for all the athletes that have joined us. This is all about transitioning to life after sports. And today we have an athlete who I actually went to university with, an NCAA football star, and I will introduce you once we get him here on the call. So we just have to wait for a second. He's in Boston. But for those of you that are new to the series, one second. So those of you that are new to the series, this is all about transitioning to life after sports. And for those suffering in silence, I have a number of conversations with people that, they're struggling in silence. They were the star of their sport. They were out there in the media. They were out there with their fans, and the transition has just been a lot harder. So one second, we're going to bring, here we go. Calling in Muji Karim. So hang tight. We're just bringing him into the call. He played football at the University of New Hampshire, where I played ice hockey. And hopefully the Wi-Fi tech gods are on our side today. Yeah!
It worked that time.
We did it! How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Good, thanks. And the sound's okay? Can you hear me okay?
I can. I didn't have it horizontal, so that was maybe the issue why it wasn't going.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, it's so nice to have you. Let's get going. While you get situated there, I'm going to give you a brief intro. So Muji is a successful entrepreneur and world-class adaptive athlete. His story is a truly remarkable journey up, literally, from the smoldering ash of adversity. Muji emerged from a crushing, high-probability fatality, fiery automobile accident to survive after flatlining twice. A severe head injury, burns over 30% of his body, loss of a hand, and loss of much of both legs. The accident didn't take his incredible talent and resolve. So Muji is a compelling, inspirational speaker. We played football together not together. We played our sports at the University of New Hampshire. I played ice hockey, he played football. But he's an inspirational speaker. He presents to corporate, academic, and healthcare audiences, uplifting, enlightening, and is very memorable. He's got a list of accomplishments that I've posted with this video, and it'll be on the website, and it'll be on the YouTube channel. But I mean, you've got a bronze medal in the 2017 Paralympic National Championships. Anyways, you guys got to check it out. I won't read it to you all. It's better. Let's just let him tell us his story. So welcome.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Are you good?
I'm dancing over here. I don't know what's going on.
Well, maybe do you have, is there something that you can set it on so you're not moving all the time?
It is, but it's, hang on. Oh, look
That's
at
okay.
That. Am I upside down?
You're upside down now.
Upside down.
Yeah.
I just gotta hold it, I guess, because it's charging now, and I obviously wasn't responsible enough to charge it before we.
Hey, you know what? Worse things have happened, so who cares? We're here now.
They definitely have.
So why don't we just, obviously this is all about life after sports, and your story is incredible. You're such an inspiration. So I thank you for making the time to be here with us. Let's go back to you playing football at the NCAA level, University of New Hampshire, before the accident. Where was life going for Muji at that time?
Well, when I was being recruited, I thought I was the best safety ever to play football, so I thought I was going to the NFL. But it was real sports dominated. I mean, I was a 3-sport track, basketball, football athlete all my life. So I didn't know anything but sports. And when I got to UNH, it was a whole different atmosphere going from high school to college, but it was still the same, sports sort of was a thing that I was known for. I mean, I also got A's, but It was it was more you know, it just I was obsessive sports kid, and I have four brothers, so we just kind of went after it. It was a good time.
Yeah, we talked a lot about our upbringing, similar parents that
Yeah.
were driven. Okay, so you're an athlete, things are going your way,
Hmm.
school's going well, Muji's an amazing athlete. When's the first turn of adversity? Was it the accident, or I don't like to say suffer, because not all of us have to suffer when we leave our sport, but did you go through some changes after university wondering like what's next for me?
Yeah, there was definitely some identity searching after, because for so long I had been known as this athlete. And then, you know, you play it all your life. I played basketball basically all my life, football, most of it, ran track and all of those things. So when you don't have any of that anymore, it creates sort of a void and a sort of search for identity where you just feel kind of lost.
Yeah, for sure. And so you went through that. Let's just go right into the accident, because your
Mm.
life just, well, you have a couple of inciting moments, I know, with some loss of some family there as well. So
Yeah.
tell us about the accident. What happened that
Um,
day?
it was, you know, like any other day. My brother and I, we had went out, was on our way home. I actually was asleep at the time, so I don't, I don't, I remember getting in the car and then waking up 3 weeks later with no
Okay.
feet and no hand. Proof I have.
And
Proof, guys. Proof.
yeah. And so so you're asleep, the accident happens, and you wake up 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
Wow.
With no hands and no feet.
And how are, obviously, what are you thinking
I
at this time?
Well, I mean, I had been on so many meds and so many in the when I was in a coma, I was having literally like night terror. So it was like a 3 week nightmare.
Oh,
And so I was happy to wake up, and then that was my surprise when I when I woke up. So that was it was difficult
you
for a
can.
while,
Sorry,
but
I know that you're laughing right now. You can tell when somebody is more emotionally healed when they can
yeah.
speak about their accident like that. I know it's
Well,
not.
I mean, it is what it is. It took me a while to get to where I am, and I'm not. Uh, it's never heals. You learn to manage things, and you learn to know different ways to cope when you get to those sort of down and dark times. Um, but it's never something you get over. You just sort of learn to manage it. Like I adapt every day. Like I find a new, more efficient way to do something every day.
Yeah.
So I think that's
When
the best
your
quality to
head
have.
when you tilt your head just this way, I can hear you a lot better. Right there. You're good
Right
there.
there.
Yeah,
All
your
right.
sound is much better there. Okay.
Okay.
So like when I think about transitioning to life after sports, and I think about athletes, they either leave due to unforeseen circumstances. In your case, yeah, a crazy accident.
Hmm.
How long was the road until obviously you've come up with Muji blades and all those things, and I'd love you to tell the people watching about that, because it's a phenomenal creation that you have as an entrepreneur. But how long was that mental state, that period? I know we're human, we deal with it every day, but how long was that period before you kind of got, you know what, I can move again? You talked about when you made these the Muji blades, that you were able to move again. What was that period like?
Well, for so long, you know, I've been confined to a wheelchair, walking with a cane or crutch, and being a guy who was a I mean, some might say elite. I would be humble about it and say great, but anyway, no, it was difficult. Those were the things that caused me the most problems and most sleepless nights, depression, stuff like that. Was, you know, who was I gonna be? What was I gonna do? But ironically, the ability to run in blades and be able to compete again kind of brought back the uh the that loss that I had when I stopped playing football.
Someone at the door. That happens.
Sorry,
I've had
guys.
more door. That, that's okay. This happens before in one of our talks. My doorbell went off. It's okay. This is called real life.
You
We
said
are
your
so
gerbil went
lucky.
off? Your
What's that?
gerbil, you said? You
No,
you
I
had a gerbil that went
said
off?
before our doorbell, I was doing an interview with one of the Olympic skiers, and I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and the doorbell was ringing. We had a good laugh. This is called real life, right? Who cares?
Yeah. And we were supposed to. It was supposed to be a lot earlier, but we
just had to roll
there was
with
just a
it.
lot. There was just a lot going on.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna switch places where I was.
Yeah, go to where you're more comfortable for sure.
Let me go upstairs.
Well,
sorry,
as
this
you're
is probably like probably give me a little tour of my house.
Yeah, thanks.
That was
He's in
actually
Boston.
I am. This is my house. I have no railing, which is not safe. I'm walking up the stairs now, which is probably not safe either, but who plays it safe anyway?
So while you're walking, how long was it until you put your first pair of blades on? Is that what they're called, blades?
Yeah, they're running blades, running prosthesis. It was September 19th, 2014. So my accident was on the 21st of August, 2011. So that was the first time I had blades. There we go. Okay, I'm good. Sorry about that.
Hey, don't even worry about it. I'm just grateful that you want to share your story and you're willing to contribute to the series. I mean, you of anyone have gone through so much adversity and just the resilience and your inspiring mindset. I mean, I don't really care if the video is perfect or not. It's not about that. Okay,
I'm gonna hang on. I'm gonna get it so it's we don't have any problems anymore. Because this is ridiculous. There we go. Okay.
We are live, just so you know.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, there. Now you can sit.
Now we're good. Okay.
Okay. So how long from the accident till you get to put on your first pair of blades and you're out of a wheelchair?
It was. I had to walk in regular prosthetics before I got the blade. So, it was supposed to be because of the severity of the injuries to my residual limbs, it would be about a year and a half before I could use prosthetics or even get casted for them. And I was standing up in 5 months. So that
wow.
I didn't have time to be waiting around.
Yeah.
A year and a half was a little too long. But that took a lot. You just get in a situation and you just do what you can do. And I was so helpless, but there was a time where, the doctor was like, the only thing you can do is just eat as much as you can, eat 10,000 calories a day. And so I was just,
really?
yeah. And that was all I could do at the time because I was in cast and having surgeries and stuff. So it was really hard to do anything. And that's all I could do for a while. Then it was, you could lift your arms. So I've been there doing arm raises and doing whatever I can to improve my situation and
Did you
put
affect
myself in the best
both hands or just the one?
Well, this is my good arm, and it was a fractured humerus, burned 3rd degree, nerve damage in this one, and a broken elbow, and that's my good arm.
Okay.
And so this one was burned. This was all this was fractured. It was I had major damage to each limb, to every limb, and that was an issue, obviously, because when I woke up, I was just up, but I couldn't do anything and didn't know why.
Yeah, that must have been. I couldn't even imagine. Okay, and then now we talked about this offline, and you and I are both very open about being vulnerable and honest, and you mentioned that there was a really hard, dark headspace for you while obviously going through this.
Oh yeah.
What was the moment where you decided, forget this? This is not the way. You decided this is not how my life's going to turn out. I'm not going to be confined to this.
Well, there was. I mean, there was a time in hospital. If I could have rolled out and jumped out the window, I would have. If you gave me a gun, I would have shot myself like that. And I'm just being honest about it because I wasn't happy to be alive. I didn't know what this meant. I didn't know what life meant as it was just a whole lot of unknown, a whole lot of confusion, and I didn't want to be a part of it. And then my mom comes in and she goes, there's plenty of people with perfectly fine legs in coffins. And that kind of registered with me a little bit. And then literally from that point on, I was like, all right, I'll figure it out. And so I just started just working as hard as I could to be wherever I could be, not knowing where that was or what success meant at all as a bilateral amputee in this world.
And then you're just winning bronze medals.
Yeah, I mean, it should have been. I mean, it was close, but it's still tail of the tape. I still say it was silver, but it was just good to get back in there because I got my blades in September, and then the biggest race in the U.S. was in May. And then I got my sprinting ones actually in April. So I got those, I think it was 6 weeks before I actually competed. And I didn't want to go to one of the, the little one. I went to the only international qualifier in the United States. So there was runners from everywhere. And it was at Arizona State, and I got dead last. But I told the guys, you got to beat me now because once I figured these out, you don't got to stop. and that pretty much held true. But it was just one of those things.
The competitive spirit is still there.
Oh yeah, it's always there. And plus, when you do track, most of those guys are I don't know, they're kind of soft. So you talk a little trash at the beginning, and they'll throw them off when you're talking milliseconds and stuff.
Well, there you go.
But I'm used to talking. It was just getting back to myself because I was a competitive guy. I was a guy who didn't back down, who didn't, who talked his trash, whatever. And I just started to feel like myself again. And when I started running, it was a completely liberating feeling, and it felt like me. And I hadn't felt like that in a long time. And so that was huge for me to get back to some form of athletics. And in a way, it made up for that loss that I had when I stopped playing football, because then I could compete still at something. And that was sort of a blessing in disguise.
And so what was that time frame? Was it like a year, 2 years?
No, it was from what time frame from when I started running to when I went to the races, or
like
my mindset?
From accident to you're feeling back to yourself again. What was that? Oof. How long was that?
Well, it was 3 years.
Yeah. That's
and there was times where it came and went and all that, but it was never there to stay. When I was kind of faking it.
Yeah.
You know what's going on. You know what's going on in your mind, even when you're smiling and trying to make things look like they're okay.
Yeah, I know that one also well. You and I are both the smiley
yeah.
ones of the crew.
Yeah.
And then what brought you to develop or make Muji blades? Like, was there something that you saw there was a need in the market where you just something you were using, and where did that come about?
It was once you get back to feeling like yourself, and I did that when I was running. I started feeling like an athlete, so I started building my confidence back up, and so that gave me the sort of audacity, if lack of a better term, to go and start doing things that I always wanted to do and start being confident about them. And there was a lot of situations where I was, when I was in the hospital and things that I was doing, a lot of people were using those things. It was used for marketing and doing all of this stuff. And then when I sort of went to them to sort of, form a partnership or something like that, all of a sudden, people forgot what I did for them. And so I just didn't want to be involved, bothered with anybody, and just sort of I'm gonna do my own thing. Because it's not can't copy it, because it's literally based on me and my experiences in my life. So it's
incredible.
That's the model. So
so is it can you customize them to other users, or is it a one's fit, or?
Oh no. It's the Muji blades I don't actually have a blade. Muji blades is just my name.
it.
The name that I came up with to do it, because it kind of rings well, kind of sounds good. So I did that. But Muji Blades, it was almost like it was just like a big sort
It's
of.
like my tiger. I'm Tiger. You're
Yes,
Muji
yes,
Blades.
yes. There
Okay,
you go. It
I
was
get
when I
it. Okay.
transformed back into that crazy athletic sort of competitive dude, and it was like a switch when I put them on. It was like when I put my pads on and put my stuff on. It reminded me of doing that, and so
Yeah.
then it just from there it just snowballed into me, confidence growing and growing, and making these reaching these goals, these lofty sort of impossible type goals that I set, and getting them, reaching them every time. So it just kept building and kept building until it got to the point where I was doing things that people with my amputations hadn't ever done.
I love it. I love it. And so you have, athletes, again, they go through injuries or unforeseen circumstances, and yours was a massive one.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to someone who's gone through something maybe slightly different or just as tragic, or what would
Whatever,
be your biggest advice to them on how
the
to get through it?
just feel all the feels. Like, don't, whatever you feel, and don't suppress anything. Because if I would have did that from jump, I might have been feeling like myself a year later, or a year and a half instead of 3, and not had those recurring setbacks because I didn't deal with the suppressed issue. But I would just say, just feel what you got to do. There was some days where I was in my bed, literally like crying all day, like
Oh,
like
yeah.
just be like, what the. And then there's some days where I was smiling and it was real, and then there was other days where I was just smiling because I just didn't want anybody to know how bad it really was, and it was a lot worse than anybody even could imagine. That when I the bronze medal that you were talking about, I had a torn MCL in my right in the one knee that I have, and nobody knew that. And I don't know if you saw the end of the film that I sent you. I literally I couldn't take the pressure on my leg, and I fell and like hit the ground so hard after that, and then I was out for like 6 to 8 weeks. But I wasn't gonna tell that. I don't. Nobody even really knows that, but you just
You
kind of
can't
do what you
tame the
got to do.
competitive spirit.
You just got to do what you got to do. I didn't train that hard to like not run that day. I knew it
Yeah.
was gonna hurt, but it's 20 seconds, so
Yeah, I
go as
imagine.
fast as you can.
And you did share with us this, does this time on the timeline, where does that happen? So not
That
only are you
was
going, go,
Well, it was literally 3 months before I ran that and got the bronze medal. So it was it was it was tough because it just you start to feel that almost why me, like you going through all of this stuff, and then something like that happens, and then you just can't. You get to a point where you can't even try to suppress the reality of your feelings because it's just there.
yeah,
And so when that happened, it was actually I had like just used it as fuel, and it was April 17th, 2017, and then the 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 national championships were June 2nd. And so for those couple weeks, I was just like a madman training, just like using that as. And then after when I did it, I had a real bad downtime, and it was involved, drinking, self-destructive behavior, and all that because it was just I hadn't dealt with it. I just
yeah.
used it then, and then I didn't have anything to sort of. I had too much time to try to digest it, and it just wasn't. I just wasn't ready for it.
So when you get into healthy ways of processing it, are you someone who likes to write? I know you write music. You
I
write a lot of
do.
music, and
I
I
do.
believe you said you're speaking to someone.
I
What
do.
are your outlets to help you process your emotions?
For me now, it's just knowing myself a little better, knowing where I can go, because those same highs can go to lows, and not allowing myself to. I mean, you can't control the triggers and things that put you in those situations, but you can control how you react to them. So me, it's I like to write stuff down. I said, uh, and, in a song, I'll talk about the things openly and use the music as a toolkit to fix what's broken. And you'll learn more about me in a song than you ever will in a conversation. So I feel like I can be more vulnerable, more just say what I want that way. And that's good. And then I have an 8-year-old. Actually, he'll be 9 in 3 days. And he sort of grounds things, and he's played football and all that. So it's hanging out with him and just realizing the sort of blessings and stuff behind it it gets your mind back to where it needs to be without going to buy a bottle and sitting there and drinking it all day and then waking up feeling the same way the next morning.
Yeah, that's the thing, eh? You still feel just as bad the next day.
It never goes away. It's you just keep suppressing it until a point where you either deal with it or you face it or you don't.
You see that happen, right? People think they can move. It's like you can cut your hair off, you can change your wardrobe, you can change the exterior, but if you don't deal with that, that's on the inside, it's still going to haunt you. So I love that. And you express yourself through music, which is very cool. I like to write and do poetry, and we talked about our passion for writing. One thing I wanted to address, you talked about how you were raised kind of like boys don't cry.
Yeah. It was.
I think that's a thing with athletes as well. We've got this mental toughness, and we try to kind of bottle it up. But what would be your feedback to some athletes that are struggling with that whole "boys don't cry"?
It's bullshit. No, so that was But for me, it shaped sort of who I was, because you get this idea that you never want to feel sort of humiliated or weak, or whatever prompted that flawed life belief. You don't want to feel like that again, and so you do the opposite. And then I started experiencing success with that with that sort of tough stuff. I was a football player, all that, so it started bringing me. I started getting attention. I was good. It was all of those things. So I found success with its use. And it became a core value to me. Like I gotta be, I'm not crying, smile, don't stop, and all that until you realize that it's not gonna work. Because it's like crying's a natural thing. It's something everybody does. So when you hide it, it's just.
Yeah, that's how I felt with like breast cancer. The biggest gift it gave me was it forced me to surrender and to rest and reflect. And when I even gave my TEDx talk, I figured out that I've been muscling my way through life. My athletics truly carried me through until I was basically given the life's dealt a hand that there is no muscling your way through cancer. So that's interesting. And I think it's a very powerful message for especially a lot of young men athletes. And it's just part of how a lot of us are raised. I had a very strict father, but I attribute a lot of my success to that as well, right? What you mentioned. So it's interesting. Any last words of wisdom, or that, like, for anyone suffering in silence out there that has had a tragedy, or, you took what I find so remarkable about your story is you took something and turned it into triumph. Like you're winning medals. You've recreated this whole life for yourself. You did the work to get yourself back in blade so that you can feel the benefit of the movement. Like, I've watched those videos of you in the gym, and you're crushing workouts better than more able-bodied people, right? So what would be some advice to get to that space that you're in, seeing the potential of what you can do?
Well, for me, it's almost, you can't fight what it is. You almost have to start embracing the moment, like it. And this is gonna sound insane, but it's a mindset. You embrace the moment like it's something you chose. Work with it, not against it, and that can take you to crazy places. And it takes a pretty warped mind to even think. Like, I had to convince myself that I wanted to lose my leg, and then once I did that, it was a mindset that, like, I this is what I wanted to do, and it wasn't, obviously, but you keep saying things, you keep working with it that way, because you can't change it. It just is what it is. So you either got to accept it or reject it, and then when you reject it the rest of your life, that it's not going away. So I started acting like and living like it was something I wanted and and it's a mindset. You either have it or you don't, and you develop it, but it takes a lot of surrendering, a lot of sort of digging deep, a lot of vulnerability. You gotta dig down to that sort of raw meat quality of vulnerability, and you can't. You gotta keep digging until you get it. And for me, it was like I was pretending I was okay while I was in the worst pain in the world. Like, and I was like, what am I doing this? Like, what am I doing? Like,
Yeah, who I have to prove it to, right?
everybody would understand if I like said I can't do this, but I just couldn't. I could not let that go. And I'm even to the point now where I worked so hard that I wasn't able to run in Tokyo. I haven't even been able to run so much because I was doing every practice that I had to do, every workout that I had to do, I did twice in a day. I did in the morning and a day. And so I was just obsessed with that, and that in a way was suppressing me really dealing with the stuff too, because my mind was busy and I was working at this goal, and it just kind of eased the pain of it all for a while.
Yeah.
And then when I got my back hurt, my knee hurt, all of this, and I couldn't run, then I had to sit in my own presence, and that's when it gets you.
Yeah.
And
that is the resistance that the resistance, it was big for me too. Once you surrender and stop resisting what is actually going on in your life, as hard as it is, I mean, everything changes. Well, you're such an inspiration, and those of you watching, check out the bio. I mean, it's a rap sheet, super long. Muji's in Boston now, so what's next for you? Where are we going to see you next?
Well, I'm working on a memoir book right now, so I've kind of been on the road doing that. I've coached my son's team. We went from not ranked anywhere to #1 now. Has nothing to do with my coaching. He's a bad dude, and I like it's just kind of taking that pressure off having to be something or do something, because that was another thing with me. I didn't want to be known as this guy who was an athlete who lost his legs and that's the end of it. But now it's just sort of laid back. Like I'm just kind of relaxing doing me, and I'm sort of reaping the benefits of some of the hard work that I did. I work for myself. I'm financially stable and stuff based on that work that I put in early. And to me, that's the payoff of it. But I'm doing the memoir. I got new music and stuff coming out. I may be able to start running again if I get the okay from my doctor, but I'm old now, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm just kind of inspiring by just being myself.
I love
it. Coaching my son, we're out there dancing, and these kids have never seen anybody with prosthetics, and now one of them has a kid in his class with prosthetics, and now he's like, it's all good, I'll help you out. My coach has 2 of them, and so it's like that's the stuff. Next year we'll have a kid with a prosthetic on the team and stuff. So it's teaching and learning and inspiring through living, and I worked out because I was trying to have a quality of life, not because I was trying to look good.
I do believe that's a big shift for us after sport and athletics, because there's like body dysmorphia too when you're used to training a certain way, and then you're like, oh, I used to look like that. Jeez, you know?
I'm looking back at some of my old pictures, I'm like, man, I fell off.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the series and to contribute to these really important conversations. And the mission and vision of all the athletes that have said yes is really to support those suffering in silence. So I really appreciate you taking the time to contribute, and keep challenging the status quo, my friend. You are such an inspiration, and I've been following your journey for years. So keep it up, and thank you so much for making time for us today and telling your story.
I have to tell you too, when you was going through it, you was a huge inspiration for me. I didn't say anything then, but I checked in. I saw you fighting, and it's always inspiring. Just get up and keep swinging.
Yeah.
Regardless of how hard the day is, get up and live it, because that's life. And there's people who would love to have that ability to get up and live it who aren't here anymore. So regardless of how hard the day is, live it, and never suffer in silence. Go talk, say something to somebody, because it's what you don't say, like the silence kills people. Like things that are left unsaid kills people. It's the secret, it's not the truth that will kill you.
I believe it, and you hold that stuff in, that energy festers, and then you get
Yeah.
disease in the body.
Yeah,
So
yes, and it causes anxiety, like bad, high blood pressure, all of that, all of those stuff. You just go downhill, because you don't want to tell somebody that you're scared, that you don't know. Like, I mean, people, you get scared. Like, you get these are real life things, and it's living life. So it's just that'll damage you a lot.
Yeah.
The tougher you try to be about it.
I 1000% agree. I'm all about writing and meditation and reflection, understanding yourself. For those athletes that are suffering out there, I mean, taking a step back and sure, look at all your accomplishments, but also try to understand your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, all those things. So, because those are the things that are driving your experience in life, right? It's all about the mindset.
Yeah, and even the most self-assured need reminders every time. So you can, there are things that I go back and look at when I'm feeling a certain type of way. I'll go look at just killing something, like just doing my thing, winning something, football, all that. But then that helps you to a point. Yeah. But you gotta just figure it out. Either you do or you don't.
Yeah.
There's no
I
gray
totally
area.
agree. Well, it was a pleasure having you. I will be sure to get this up on our YouTube channel and on our webpage and everything. And I so appreciate you sharing your story. I'm going to keep following you, and I'm sure this is not going to be our last chat. And who knows, maybe we'll share the stage somewhere sometime.
We might. And I'm sorry about all of the phone confusion stuff. He's walking upstairs. We got stuff going on, but
honestly, if anybody has a problem with that, they can just go to another YouTube channel and Facebook Live. I'm passionate about this story, and I appreciate the share. And that stuff does not bug me at all. I don't care about being perfect. I care about being honest and authentic
and living life.
So next time we'll make sure you're set up before we go live.
Yeah. And we were supposed to go at like 10 today, and
that's like okay. But I thank you so much. I'm going to finish. I'll message you after, but I appreciate you being on here, Muji. For those of you who follow him, watch his journey. We can't wait till this memoir comes out. It's going to be a good one. So thank you for your time today.
Oh, no problem. And you can check out my music. Just put Muji in any major music thing, and you'll see songs, and they'll paint a picture for you.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. You should post some in the notes of the comments of this video. So
yeah, I will. I definitely will.
Okay, well, it was good to see you.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
All right, you too.